Hello, Bucks fans. Welcome back to Real Bucks Talk. It has been a while since we've had a video out. We were live this past Monday, so I hope you guys check that out. Check out our live stream. Hit that like button. But wanted to get on this Jalen McMillan news and just give you a reaction, our thoughts about this injury, and what does it mean for the offense going forward. It's unfortunate as this was reported on Tuesday by Rick Stroud. As you see there, Jalen McMillan will be placed on injured reserve. So he will go on injured reserve on the final cut down day, which is next week. So he will go on IR and he'll have the option to return later in the season. And it looks like most likely it's going to be after the bye week, which is week 9. So going to miss probably, half of the season, which is unfortunate. The Buccaneers still have Mike Evans and Emeka Buka, and we'll get into Chris Godwin in another video as there's news about him as well. But really wanted to talk about, how it's okay. Like the Bucs will still be all right. This injury sucks for Jalen McMillan. It's unfortunate that it happened, but injuries are part of the game. And that's why you have depth. That's why you have guys behind to pick up that play and step up. And we'll go to Todd Bowles here, just talking about the next strain. He says it's a shame because his growth and potential was off the wall, but glad it's not life threatening, which is very important. That is awesome to hear. And he can come back later this season. And the last sentence here, we have to have guys ready. I think that's very important. So when you look at it, yes, it's unfortunate because McMillan had a very strong second half of the season with 8 touchdowns in his rookie season. And going into year 2, it looked like he was getting stronger. He was getting better at the point of catch as far as making contested catches in traffic. I thought he was getting showing improvement, especially in the first 2 preseason games. He made really tough acrobatic catches. Unfortunately, the second one ends up hurting him where he flips and lands on his neck. So that's the unfortunate part. But when you look at this Bucks depth chart in the receiver position as a whole, they have a lot of talent there. It's probably the strength of the offense for sure. And you still have Mike Evans, Emeka Buka. Again, he's going to be called upon even more now, being the second starter on the team and going to get a lot of targets and opportunities. And now you have Sterling Shepard probably steps up into that third receiver spot where him and Baker Mayfield have good chemistry there. And Sterling has been playing well so far in this training camp, playing well in the preseason as well. So you have him, you have Tez Johnson, who's going to get a bigger opportunity. And then it's going to come down to guys like Ryan Miller. You're going to look at maybe Trey Palmer or Cameron Johnson. So those are 2 players right there. And Cameron and Trey have a huge opportunity on Saturday night against Buffalo and see if they can step up their game. It's really going to come down to who plays the best on special teams. And so far, Ryan Miller has been really good on special teams and also on offense as a receiver. So I think they really like him, his ability to be kind of that versatile piece because he can play all 3 receiver spots. He's got the size, he's got the athleticism. So I would expect him to make the team. Another one to watch is probably Garrett Green, the converted quarterback. We'll see what happens there, but receiver is definitely a position to watch in this last preseason game. But also, let's not panic about Jalen McMillan being out. And then also, there was some, just some uproar on the social media feeds about injuries as a whole. I think some were just being a little bit too dramatic in that aspect. I think injuries, the Bucks are going to be fine. When you look at the list of injuries, most of these guys are going to be back for week 1. The guarantees that are not going to play in week 1 are Tristan Wirfs, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, and maybe Christian Izien. But everyone else, I think, is on track to be back in practice and being prepared to play for week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons. So, with that said, I think with this news, as much as it does hurt not to have McMillan out there because it changes your offense from a receiver standpoint and the dynamics of what you can put out there. But we have to remember, I think the offensive coaching staff is still smart. You still have a very good tight end and Cade Otton, who picked up a lot of roles last year, especially when Mike and Chris Godwin went out. So I think Cade Otton is still very underrated. You got a tight end room in general with Payne Durham and Devin Culp, who I think are going to pick up more opportunities as receivers. And then the offensive line, I think, is already meshing well, and they're going to pick it up while Tristan Wirfs is out. So there's still a plan in place for this offense to lean on their running game with Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Sean Tucker. You still have really good receivers in Mike Evans and Mecca Buka, in addition to your depth with Sterling Shepard, Tez Johnson, Ryan Miller, etc. So the cupboard is not bare. And I think with McMillan being out, this long, I think it's just going to make your team that much stronger, especially when pieces like Chris Godwin and Tristan Wirfs return to the fold, which we hear is going to be probably sooner than week 4 if everything goes right. At the latest, week 4, I should say, because they're keeping both of those guys on the 53-man roster. But we'll get into that in the next video. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the like button. Comment down below your thoughts of the Jalen McMillan injury. Is a big blow to the Buccaneers offense? Is it detrimental that he's not going to be out there? Like, how do you see it playing out? What do you expect from the receiver room, and who do you think could step up to take up for the absence of Jalen McMillan? Let us know. And with that said, until the next one.